Hey everyone, and thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Justin, and it's been a little bit of time since I've made a video on this channel, the last one being when Morgan Rielly signed an 8-year deal with the Leafs. But just a few days before that, I made a video about the Leafs starting 2-4-1 this season, and I said specifically in that video that for all we know, the Leafs could go 10-0 in their next 10 games. Well, we're 10 games later, and the Leafs went 9-1-0. Absolutely crazy. They're obviously on a heater right now, so let's talk about it. Like I said, the Leafs have won 9 of their last 10 games. They're absolutely feeling it right now. And over that stretch, you know what? I really didn't feel the need to make a video about anything because there wasn't really much to talk about. The Leafs had some really strong performances in there. They also had some weak ones that they were ultimately able to squeak out some wins, which is a positive thing. But the biggest thing is, taking the lessons from those wins, finding a way to win no matter what, but finding a way to improve as well. And as we've gone on through those 10 games, the Leafs have clearly gotten better every single game. And it all came together for them as they won their most recent game, 3-0 against Nashville in a very complete performance. Their third shutout in the month of November, Soupy's third shutout in the month of November. So clearly the Leafs are figuring out not only how to score, but also how to defend and play a full complete game for 60 minutes. What we've also seen over this 10-game stretch is the Leafs starting to get a little bit more comfortable with winning games where either it's really tight, low-scoring affairs, or you're not getting any secondary scoring, which was not an issue at the beginning of the year. We had all secondary scoring, no scoring from our big guys. Now it's all the big guys, very little secondary scoring. So finding a way to win during that and finding a way to get it all going together, because at the end of the 10-game streak, as we've been here, we're getting some contributions from especially like Ondrej Kase, David Kampf, that third line, but also Matthews, Marner, Tavares, they're still producing as well. So everything seems to be going at a good trajectory. Now, I don't think that the 9 wins in the last 10 games necessarily negate everything that we saw in the first few games when the Leafs started 2-4-1. I still believe that little stretch at the beginning of the season shows ultimately what this Leafs team can be if they're not producing or playing how they should. And that's been the big issue, right? It's been the Leafs play well for the regular season, make the playoffs, and all of a sudden come out and play 4 stinkers in a playoff series and lose the series, and especially in game 7s. And so just because we have won 9 of the last 10 doesn't make me think all of a sudden, oh, this team is ready, they're gonna win, this is a great team. Which, I mean, they are a great team, but they still are susceptible to having bad games. And in those last 9 wins, they have had a couple bad games. They just resulted in wins, but that won't necessarily pay off in the playoffs. So what we need to look at is how is the team progressing and learning from those mistakes to prove to us that in the playoffs, when it matters, they are able to come through, play a better performance, and pull out a series win, one that they haven't had in the past. And with that note said, I mean, it is an optimistic sign that we went 2-4-1. We played some really bad games. The team was in a really bad spot. They were getting a ton of criticism online, but they were able to learn from their mistakes and improve. And ultimately, I think everybody expected that to an extent, but to go 9 wins in their next 10 games shows significant steps in how they were able to adjust to the game, make the whole team come together, play a complete performance, and ultimately stretch out some wins. That's the kind of adversity that I don't know if we've necessarily seen in Leafs teams in the past few years, and I'm hoping that that's an optimistic sign. Now, the Leafs obviously have had stretches in the past where they go on a hot streak or on a cold streak, so that's not something new. But to have so much adversity early in the year, to have so much doubt early in the year, especially with all the conditions of coming off of last year's disappointment, that was something that was new to the team, and they were able to climb out of it successfully. And they're looking really good now. They're winning games that the Leafs have never really won with this team before. I mean, last year, the years before, the Leafs were just so used to winning high-scoring games. But they were also so used to giving up 3-4 goals a night. And that's not a recipe for success, even during the regular season, even though we've had some success with it. But especially come playoff time, you cannot be doing that. And this year, I mean, over the last 10 games, they have been really good in circumstances where it's a 1-goal game and they have to shut it down, or they have a lead and they aren't giving up leads. Like, that's something completely new to this team. If they're up 3-1, they won't blow it in the third period. It's an optimistic sign. And so I don't think we should read too far into it, like the season just began, but there are signs here that this team is at least learning from some mistakes and improving on some areas that have haunted us in the past. Well, now we go on to the next stretch of 10 games. How are they going to perform? I mean, they're coming off of a heater, but they also were coming off of a really bad stretch before that. So how do they respond now? Jack Campbell just recorded a shutout. The team has recorded 3 shutouts in November. Can they continue that? They go up tonight against the New York Rangers, a team that I think, completely dominated the first game, but lost. So how do they respond to that? And I think this is an important stretch of games here. Even though it's early in the season, I think it's important for the team's confidence to come out and at least, even if you don't get the same results of 9 wins in 10 games, at least have the mentality that you're going to have a full 60 minutes with a full team effort. And as long as you have those results, you're going to win more times than not. 2 points out of first place in the entire National Hockey League. They have played more games than anybody, but they're in a good spot. So I'm enjoying watching them. I think it's really fun. This team is doing well now. I like watching the Leafs have success. I'm hoping it can translate down the stretch of the regular season and into the playoffs, but again, remains to be seen. So thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you do like it, please feel free to click like and subscribe. Tell me all your thoughts about this team right now. Are you high on them? Are you low on them still from their bad start? How do you think it'll translate into the playoffs? I look forward to reading all your comments, and I'll see you in the next video.